今日もお疲れ様でした。英語で国内ニュースです。優しい英語で今日の出来事をお届けします。
Typhoon number 13, a large and extremely strong storm, is now closest to Okinawa's main island area and the Amami region. Rain and winds are getting stronger. In northern Okinawa, the chance of a linear rain band is increasing. An immediate forecast has been issued for the possible rain band.
After the Kumamoto earthquake, 38 people in Kumamoto Prefecture have died, including people whose deaths may be disaster-related. This figure was reported as of 7:30 a.m. on August 7th. A total of 6,794 people are staying in evacuation shelters, according to the prefecture's damage report.
A shooting occurred at a combined junior and senior high school near Bangkok, Thailand, on the morning of August 7th. Authorities say 5 teachers and other staff members died, and more than 20 people were injured. The 14-year-old student suspected in the attack shot himself and died. He may also have killed his grandparents before school.
At Kyoto University Hospital, a surgeon mistakenly removed normal brain tissue during surgery for a suspected 3-centimeter benign tumor in a woman in her 50s. Tests twice showed the tissue was not a tumor, but surgery continued because of a misunderstanding. The patient cannot breathe independently or move her limbs and remains on a ventilator. The hospital apologized.
A recommendation calls for Japan's national government employees to receive an average monthly pay increase of 3.51% or 15,056 yen in fiscal 2026. Their annual bonuses would rise by 0.05 months to 4.70 months. Pay and bonuses would both increase for the 5th straight year. It also proposes relocation allowances and hourly unpaid leave.
Japan's public pension reserves reached a record high of more than 302 trillion yen in fiscal 2025. The total covers employees' pensions and the national pension, officials say. Higher investment gains and wage increases helped push the reserves up. The figure comes from the financial results for the previous fiscal year.
Japan's government has begun serious discussions on whether to limit the number of foreign nationals it accepts. The main questions are whether to cap their share of the total population and whether to set limits by residence status. The government plans to study social and economic effects and set a basic policy within this fiscal year. Opinions within the ruling parties differ.
The Sapporo District Court has sentenced a defendant to life in prison in a robbery and fatal assault case in Ebetsu, Hokkaido. 2 years ago, the defendant, who was 18 at the time and worked part-time, took money and other belongings from a male university student in a park and assaulted him, causing his death.
Constitutional revision is gaining momentum in Japan's parliament, but public opinion is divided over what should change. A recent poll found 69% thought revision was necessary, including those who said it was somewhat necessary. 84% supported extending lawmakers' terms during emergencies. A constitutional scholar, however, said an emergency clause was unnecessary.
次は社会のニュースです。
Japan's government has designated the Kumamoto earthquake as a severe disaster. National subsidies for recovery work by affected local governments will be increased. Support for restoring farmland, roads, ports, water systems, and other infrastructure will rise by about 10%. Aid and loan guarantees will also support businesses and residents.
Large and powerful typhoon number 13 is near Okinawa Island and moving west at 25 kilometers per hour. It is bringing strong winds and heavy rain to Okinawa and奄美. The storm will slow down, prolonging its effects. A line of heavy rain may form. People should watch for landslides, flooding, high waves, storm surges, and violent winds.
Japan's government has begun a full review of whether to limit foreign resident intake. It is considering an overall limit and separate limits by resident status. Foreign residents number about 3.9 million or 3.2% of the population. An expert group began discussions on the 7th. The government plans a basic policy within this fiscal year.
The Personnel Authority has recommended a 3.51% increase in monthly pay for national government workers in fiscal 2026, or an average of 15,056 yen. Annual bonuses would rise to 4.70 months of pay. Monthly pay and bonuses would increase for the 5th straight year. A relocation allowance is also planned for fiscal 2027.
An expert panel advising Japan's Transport Ministry has recommended expanding the range of land acquisitions that require notification. The proposal is intended to prevent trouble with local residents caused by improper use of land. The ministry is considering the panel's recommendation as it reviews rules for land purchases.
The leader of the Liberal Democratic Party group in the Fukuoka Prefectural Assembly has formally announced his resignation. He held a political fundraising party on the night of the Kumamoto earthquake, July 28th. He apologized on the 7th after criticism. He said he meant that explaining himself and hearing people's views had been good.
Japan's Justice Ministry says a person's voice, like their name or image, is a symbol of their personality. It issued guidance saying AI-made fake videos that copy someone's voice and earn money may violate rights. Unauthorized songs using a voice actor's or singer's voice may also violate publicity rights. Identified comedians' impersonations are not violations.
A university hospital in Kyoto has reported a serious surgical error. During open skull surgery on a woman in her 50s, the surgical team mistakenly removed healthy tissue where there was no tumor. Part of her brainstem was damaged. She is conscious but cannot breathe on her own and requires a ventilator, the hospital said.
Authorities have accused a 25-year-old tax office employee of fraud and tax evasion. He allegedly took about 850,000 yen from an elderly woman by falsely saying she owed new taxes. Authorities say he earned about 334 million yen from boat race winnings between 2023 and 2025, did not file a tax return, and avoided about 135 million yen in income tax.
次はビジネス関連のニュースです。
Japan's government and central bank bought yen and sold dollars on April 30th, spending 6.2787 trillion yen. It was the largest one-day currency intervention ever. They also intervened on May 4th and 6th, bringing the three-day total to 11.7349 trillion yen. The yen briefly strengthened from the 160s to the 155 range against the dollar.
After credit card payment processing company Zentoshin entered bankruptcy proceedings, at least 34 financial institutions may be unable to recover or may face delays on loans totaling more than 539 billion yen. That is nearly half of the company's 1.13 trillion yen in borrowing. About half of the 63 creditor institutions have not disclosed estimates, so losses may grow.
On August 7th, Japan's government designated the 2026 Kumamoto earthquake as a severe disaster. national subsidies for restoring farmland, roads, ports, and water systems will increase, easing local financial burdens. The designation also strengthens support for small businesses and extends some administrative deadlines, including driver's license validity and the period for deciding whether to renounce an inheritance.
Japan's land ministry is considering tighter rules for scrapyards and other inappropriate land uses. Experts say some sites near homes create safety concerns, noise, bad smells, and water pollution. Their recommendation calls for reviewing notification rules to prevent harm to nearby communities. The ministry is considering revising the National Land Use Planning Act at next year's regular diet session.
Japan's National Personnel Authority has recommended a pay raise for national government employees for fiscal 2026. Average monthly salaries for administrative workers would rise by 3.51%. The increase would top 3% for the second year in a row, reaching a level not seen since fiscal years 1990 and 1991. The recommendation was submitted to the Diet and Cabinet.
Japan's food self-sufficiency rate for fiscal 2025 was an estimated 37.11% on a calorie basis, the lowest since comparable records began in fiscal 1965. Higher rice prices reduced consumption of domestic rice and increased imports. The rate was 1.05 percentage points below fiscal 2024, when it stood at 38.16%.
China's exports in July rose 23.9% from a year earlier, reaching $397.8 billion, according to trade figures released on August 7th. Imports also increased, rising 27.5% to $285.3 billion. The figures were announced by China's customs authorities. Both exports and imports recorded strong year-on-year growth.
The Democratic Party for the People will hold a leadership election on September 6, 2026. Incumbent Yuichiro Tamaki and young lawmaker Mikihiko Hashimoto are the only candidates, creating a two-person race. The campaign officially begins August 20. They will give speeches across 11 electoral blocks. The election will be decided by 159 points assigned to national and local lawmakers, party members, and supporters.
Japan's government held a junior high school summit in Tokyo on August 7th about Japanese citizens abducted by North Korea. Chief Cabinet Secretary Minoru Kihara urged students to see the issue as their own. Family group leader Takuya Yokota, brother of Megumi, called for continued efforts. Students proposed ideas for awareness videos, which the government plans to produce and publish online.
では、スポーツニュースをお伝えします。
Tomoru Honda, a 24-year-old swimmer who won a silver medal in the men's 200-meter butterfly at the Tokyo Olympics, has been indicted for causing injury through dangerous driving after a car accident. The Swimming Federation says Honda will withdraw from events, including next month's Asian Games. The federation announced the decision.
Former coach Nakai of Koryo High School's baseball team apologized at a news conference in Hiroshima. The apology concerned a violence incident involving the team last year. Nakai said he deeply accepts responsibility as the team's leader for failing to prevent the violence. The school is in Hiroshima City.
FIFA has apologized for errors in a plan to create a company to manage the World Cup and sell its shares. FIFA withdrew the plan and gave full support to its president. UEFA says the apology changes nothing. The European soccer body will continue its policy of boycotting the World Cup.
At the Summer National High School Baseball Tournament, the afternoon session will start at 1:30 p.m. From the 3rd through the 8th day, the first game starts at 8 a.m., followed by afternoon games. The schedule is based on a survey. Suspected heat stroke cases during the second game period totaled 42, more than in other games.
At the Summer National High School Baseball Tournament, games were divided into morning and afternoon sessions to avoid the hottest hours. In the second game, which began shortly after 1:30 p.m., Takasaki Health and Welfare University High School of Gunma beat Yawata Commercial High School of Shiga 7-1. Takasaki advances to the second round.
At the Summer National High School Baseball Tournament, games were held in 2 sessions to avoid hours of high temperatures. In the first game, which began shortly after 8 a.m., Tokai University Kofu High School of Yamanashi took a 3-run lead in the first inning and held on to beat Tsuruoka Higashi of Yamagata. Tokai Kofu advances to the second round.
Japan's J-League soccer season opens tonight with a new autumn to spring schedule, like major leagues in Europe. The opening has moved from February to August. This is the biggest change since the league began, and attention is focused on what effects the new schedule will have.
Boston Red Sox player Masataka Yoshida had 2 hits and 1 RBI against the Chicago White Sox. The Red Sox won a close game in extra innings, extending their winning streak to 8 games. Yoshida's 2-hit performance helped the team continue its winning run after 7 straight victories.
First-time Koshien team Ariake High School of Kumamoto is receiving strong support for its opening game against Ritsumeikan Uji of Kyoto. After an earthquake in Kumamoto on July 28, the players practiced to send encouragement to affected people. With only 4 band members, alumni and local musicians formed a group of about 30 for the game.
続いて、国際ニュースです。
President Donald Trump says the fighting with Iran will end soon. Speaking at the White House, he said Iran could not continue much longer. Trump also said the U.S. military has unlimited ammunition and a very strong supply system. However, reports say the Army may have used most of its high-precision, long-range missiles in the 5-month war, raising readiness concerns.
Iran says it has agreed with Oman on the location of a new shipping route through the Strait of Hormuz. Final talks are continuing. Iran says the route would mostly pass through its waters and current northern and southern routes would end. Iran would manage ships and may charge fees of 5 to 7%. Oman is considering about 3%.
A shooting at a school near Bangkok has left 6 people dead and 15 injured. The victims include 3 students and 3 teachers. Police say the suspect was a student at the school and died by suicide after the attack. The shooting happened during class. The suspect had many bullets, suggesting the attack was planned. Authorities are investigating the motive.
President Donald Trump has signed a new executive order to limit birthright citizenship, the policy that gives citizenship to children born in the United States. The report does not provide details about the new limits. Trump also said on the first day of his second term last year that he would review birthright citizenship.
President Donald Trump has signed a document imposing additional tariffs and other measures on polysilicon and related products. Polysilicon is a major material used for semiconductors and solar panels. The action is believed to target China, which has a large share of global polysilicon production.
Japan's defense ministry says North Korea may have launched a ballistic missile, officials believe it has already fallen outside Japan's exclusive economic zone, or EEZ, and are checking for damage. South Korea says one short-range ballistic missile was launched from near Wonsan on North Korea's east coast toward the Sea of Japan.
A district court in New Mexico has ordered Meta to pay $567 million, or about 90 billion yen. The money will go to a fund for treatment and other support. The court said Meta's social media services are a form of pollution that harms young people's mental health.
Min Aung Hlaing, leader of Myanmar's military-backed government, visited Thailand and met Prime Minister Anutin. Myanmar appears to hope that stronger ties with Thailand will help repair relations with ASEAN. The two sides discussed scam groups near the border and river pollution linked to illegal mining. Thailand said dialogue does not mean recognizing the government's legitimacy.
The U.S. State Department plans to review social media accounts when foreign journalists apply for visas. It says the policy will help identify people who threaten national security or public safety. Details of the review are unknown. Critics may fear that posts critical of the Trump administration could cause problems, raising concerns about free speech.
続いて、文化・芸能ニュースをお伝えします。
The animated film Chihikawa, The Secret of Mermaid Island, earned more than 5 billion yen in its first 14 days. It attracted 3.5 million viewers. This pace is similar to Shin Evangelion, which earned about 4.93 billion yen during its first 14 days. The film opened strongly, earning 990 million yen on its first day.
Actress Maika Yamamoto, 28, has announced the birth of her first child with her husband, Hiro, 32, the vocalist of My First Story. She made the announcement on July 7th. Yamamoto said that both mother and baby are healthy and that the family is enjoying peaceful days while watching the child grow.
A new indoor area based on the film Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind is planned for Ghibli Park in Aichi Prefecture. The possible location is the Westgate Plaza. Details are not decided and the opening date is unknown. A budget plan of about 387 million yen will be submitted to the prefectural assembly.
Weekly Shonen Jump had an average circulation of 985,000 copies from April through June. This was the first time it fell below 1 million since the reporting method changed in 2008. Its circulation peaked at 6.53 million copies in 1994. Meanwhile, electronic comics made up 76.1% of Japan's comic market in 2025.
A broadcaster said an employee suffered sexual abuse from a program performer. The employee later became ill and took leave. Staff in charge did not approve the employee's requested transfer or report the case to executives. An outside investigation said they failed to recognize the incident as a serious human rights violation and called for steps to prevent a repeat.
Kabuki actor Kosaburo Nakamura, 77, has been referred to prosecutors on suspicion of causing an injury by careless driving and leaving the scene. Police say he hit a woman in her 20s in Tokyo's Shinjuku ward last month, injuring her left leg. Nakamura partly denied the allegations, saying he knew he hit her but did not think she was injured.
YouTuber iKaken, 36, says he donated 20 million yen to people affected by the Reiwa 8 Kumamoto earthquake. His company gave 10 million yen, and he personally gave another 10 million yen. He also provided 14,400 bottles of Onisha barley tea. Hecking asked people to donate if they can while putting their families first.
19 of the top 50 paperback books in the latest weekly ranking were written by Kigo Higashino, who died at age 68 on July 23rd. This was the highest number ever for one author. The 7 Days with a Witch ranked second, while The Swans and Bats ranked third and fourth.
Actor Akira Emoto and Haruka Sasaki performed a reading play in Hiroshima on August 6th. The play Father and Living Together is about the atomic bombing of Hiroshima. Afterward, Emoto remembered the tragedy 81 years ago and said war should happen only in films and theater. The audience responded with loud applause.
今日のニュースは以上です。最後までお付き合いいただき、ありがとうございました。おやすみなさい。